I grew up 𝗗𝗦𝘁𝘁 in Durban, and I was raised by my paternal grandmother. She loved me. She was my very best friend and the greatest love of my life. My grandmother always said, I always want your feet on the ground. No matter how high you rise, keep your feet on the ground. And I always remember those words, and she would always say that the people are like the fingers on your hand. They're not the same length, but you must always treat them equally. And I had a very good relationship with my dad. My father was all about, you have to be an A student. That's it. If it's 89, he's going to ask, where was the other 1%? That was my dad. And he passed away when I was 14 years old. And I was able to take care of him in his last days. And it was one of the greatest honors of my life. Strange enough, growing up, my dad used to make me this toasted sandwich. It had egg, cheese, and tomato. And he'd toast it and wrap it in foil. But as soon as I got to school, I would always swap that sandwich for like a lollipop, for something so insignificant, because I didn't want to go home with it still in my backpack. Those who know, know, right? And I think what was really the underbelly feeling of it was just understanding that my dad would wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to make that sandwich, that effort, that love put into it. Funny part is that I now make that sandwich almost every morning. It is my favorite sandwich to make for myself. And I'm thinking to myself, why did I hate the sandwich? So he's probably laughing, watching me now. When I think about my professional life, I think about the woman whose hands I was placed in when I began my acting career as 𝗗𝗻 𝘗𝘁𝘃. It was 2012 when I met her, and I went to go and audition for the role of Thandeka on this random show that I just thought, oh, it's just random, should be nice. The show is Isibaya, and the show was not random. It wasn't tiny at all. The show changed my life. It changed so many people's lives, and it influenced society in such a significant way. One of the greatest career highlights is being one of the executive producers of 𝗗𝗗 𝘗𝘁, and also playing the role of Queen Nandi, a role that I've always wanted to portray on screen, and doing it with the people who gave me my first job. I always say to little Zamo when we speak, because I speak to little Zamo, I always say that, you know, I'm really proud of you. Just a girl from C-section, 𝗗𝗦𝘁𝘁𝘁, to be able to make something of your little life is really, really, really something I don't overlook, because my life could have turned out very different, and it did not. It turned out better than I ever imagined. And I'm incredibly thankful. My advice to young women is, do not compare your step 2 to somebody else's step 10. Find the thing that sets your belly on fire. That's your purpose. But there are still barriers that exist. And our tool of survival is to be excellent. Because if there's anything that no one can take away from us, or that anybody can deny us, is our excellence. I am an advocate for African women. They just excite me, as you can tell. There's just really something inspiring and strong that one is constantly drawn to. We've seen some really, really big disruptive things. And I always say, when you see disruption, when you see things move in a way that doesn't feel familiar, that's an opportunity for greatness to take place. So when there's disruption, it is our duty now to think, in these disruptive times, where do the opportunities lie? It's also beautiful to see so many African films make their mark on international stages, be recognized for the excellence, be recognized for their point of view, and films that are really, really, truly rooted in who we are being celebrated around the world. Whatever part of the stage that Africa was not given now has a permanent stay in it. I decided to be a part of the International Women's Month campaign because I do think that when we speak about International Women's Month, we want to have a spectrum and a rainbow of voices around the world. And I do understand the responsibility that I have, especially with young girls on the African continent. I always say I want to leave my generation better than I found it. That's my personal motto. Women are still very much underrepresented, and we have to do a relentless job at making sure that anything woman is amplified. It is the most beautiful thing to know that your life can be able to impact and enrich another person's life. My hopes for the future is to see more young girls and more women be given chances. Not out of nobility, but out of investment. But my greatest probably feeling or probable feeling that I'll have one day, if I can be able to look back on these years, maybe 30 years from now, is to see how far the investment in women has gone. That is my hope.